Now again, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease specialist, answered some questions from Harvard Chan faculty and other COVID-19 experts. A conversation moderated by Dr. Sanjay Gupta, the chief medical correspondent for CNN. He was asked why some people who get COVID are sicker even if they don't have any underlying disease. Let's listen in.
Is it still random, or do you have any better idea as to why some of these other patients get so sick?
Yeah, the answer is we have some clear idea, and there's still some things that are unknown. So in the typical biological world that you and I live in, there's the famous bell-shaped curve, okay? So if the big part of the bell is the people you know have a higher degree of likelihood of a serious outcome. The elderly and those with the underlying conditions that we know so well, predominantly diabetes, obesity, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, kidney disease, etc. They have a much higher likelihood. You look at the data nails that down. 90+% of the people who die are over a certain age. Then you get the people on the tails of the bell-shaped curve. And that is the people who are young, seemingly healthy, and we're seeing more and more of them who get a serious outcome to the point that they get hospitalized and sometimes die. I have to tell you without any name, I have even close to me in the brother of a very close relative of mine, was a 32-year-old young man, vibrant man, otherwise healthy, got a typical coronavirus infection, got symptoms, developed a cardiomyopathy, and died. That happens. That just happens. There's no doubt. But that doesn't mean that there are individuals there who are not going to suffer like the person I'm referring to. However, we don't know why. I mean, if the person had diabetes or obesity, good explanation. But some people are otherwise perfectly normal. Is that a genetic thing? Don't know. Is that a big expression of ACE2 receptors in their airway and in their lungs? Could be. We don't know yet. And that's where I say, Sanjay, we've got to be humble that we don't know. We can give the possibilities, but we don't know.
These things that we talk about like this, and this will come up a couple more times, are they knowable and we just don't know yet? This gets back to the intricacies of science. Again, when you say this 34, and I'm sorry to hear about your friend's brother, I have a friend, a nurse that I know as well, 34 years old, who died. And the question that comes up, I think, from families, obviously, and people, was there any way to have known, predict? You're saying no at this point, we don't know, but is it knowable? Will we know at one point that 30-year-old, despite all their other fine medical history, is vulnerable to this disease?
You know, it could be genetic. It could be, we know from good studies that there are certain infections that some individuals can lead a perfectly normal life so long as they don't come into contact with a particular pathogen. It isn't every pathogen. You know, and I know, and probably many of the viewers, that if you have a true immunodeficiency, there are multiple infections that you are susceptible to. But there are some genetic polymorphisms where you have a defect that would never bother you at all unless you came into contact with a particular virus, like a herpes virus or whatever, and then all hell breaks loose. It could be that, and we could find that out with enough clinical experience.